Can I see your transfer station sticker, please? Welcome back, Yarmouth, to this week's edition of the Friday Five. As always, I'm Scott, and instead of 5 things today, we're really going to focus on one. It's sort of a new segment for us to do a deep dive in our municipal operations, and what better place to start than everybody's favorite watering hole, the Transfer and Recycling Center here in Yarmouth. So we have Curtis Dimmick, who runs this operation, telling us everything that we need to know about getting rid of household trash, recycling, sheetrock, pressure-treated wood, and everything in between. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this deep dive, Friday 5. This week, we're doing a deep dive at the transfer station here in Yarmouth, and I'm here with Curtis Dimmick, who runs this very elaborate operation. Thanks for being with us, Curtis.
You're welcome.
And he's gonna be able to tell us in a few minutes a little bit more than just dropping off your trash and recycling. There's a lot that goes on here, isn't there?
Yes, there is. Yeah. As you can see to your left there, the paint is one of the big things that people drop off here. And most of the time, if the can is empty, it doesn't go in the bin outside, it goes inside and gets recycled. If it's got hard paint in it, it would go in your trash. And everybody knows the new system are blue bags, so you have to have blue bags when you're putting stuff in the trash in the hopper.
Yeah.
All your recycling goes in the building. We can take a walk in there. Everything from your trash to your recycling, your single sort recycling, batteries, light bulbs, ballasts, electronics, TVs, wire, all that stuff goes inside.
Yeah, so if you have something you're trying to get rid of at home, 99% of the time you can bring it here and we can make sure we process it the right way.
Yes, we do a hazardous waste. The exclusion is hazardous waste. We do not accept hazardous waste. That goes to a hazardous waste day in the fall, usually September, during the free week in September.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit what would be considered hazardous waste?
Your pesticides, herbicides, gasoline is a big one. That's a big one for everybody trying to get rid of. We do accept oil. We do accept antifreeze. We have a market for that.
Yeah. As Curtis mentioned, about 2 years ago, the town converted to a pay-as-you-throw system, the blue bags, right, as it's affectionately known here in Yarmouth. But that also sort of came with some changes to our stickering system for recycling. So now we can, for those, if you haven't gotten it, they're available at the town office at the front desk. They're $2 on an annual basis, and you still buy punch cards, right, for other bulky waste?
Yes, you do have to have punch cards to get rid of bulky waste. You don't have to have punch cards to get rid of your blue bags or your recycling or any of the stuff you see behind us that we recycle. And if you have a question about recycling, you can always ask somebody here, one of the attendants, and they'll let you know if it's recyclable or not.
Yeah, and as part of the blue bag or the pay-as-you-throw system and converting over to the single sort recycling, around the same time as those were rolled out, we had some really great facility improvements, right, Curtis? And so now we have the capability of compacting that material much
correct,
much more than we did before, and we're able to sort of save some money.
Single sort recycling used to just be thrown in what we call silver bullets, which are containers like you see outside. And now we can put a week's worth of stuff in one bin as opposed to 10 or 12.
Yeah. Which again saves money on hauling, saves money, and it's just more sort of less fuel. You have to get it back and forth for to Maine.
Correct.
It was a really good deal all the way around, and it also allows for a much more convenient operation for residents who are dropping off their waste.
More convenient, cleaner, and less having to go through all the bins.
That's great.
So when you come into the building to throw your trash away and your recycling, you can also come behind the red shelves or through the other door, which you've seen out front, and we recycle all electronics here. Anything with a cord on it, or if you don't know, bring it in, we'll tell you. We separate out all kinds of cords, wires, computers, TVs, all your different metals, non-ferrous metals, the town actually gets revenue from, so that goes to a different place. And we separate all that stuff out. Your mercury, your things that people just don't know where to get rid of.
So it really is a one-stop shop for just about anything you're trying to get rid of.
Pretty much.
That's great.
Other than skunks.
Other than skunks. Don't bring your skunks, guys.
So over here is the bins for all our bulky items. This first bin is for metal, so all metal items will go in that bin. The next bin we'll come to is the bulky bin, which typically is mattresses, rugs, old chairs, couches, recliners, insulation, bags of insulation, things of that nature, your garden hoses, let me think, what else?
Not sheetrock though, right?
Not sheetrock, not building debris. And you'll see some stuff here that's recyclable and it's set off to the side because we pull it out when we bring it in and recycle it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people don't know and it gets put here, but we do take it in and recycle it. Then we do shingles, roofing shingles, for all your little projects around the house. Then we have pressure treated wood, and then the sheetrock and porcelain bin, we call it. So sheetrock and porcelain has to go in the landfill. It's one of the only items that we really don't have a market for. So it winds up in landfill, which the town still has plenty of space. And we monitor it pretty close to make sure we're not putting a lot of unnecessary stuff there.
Yeah. Another unique offering here at the Transfer and Recycling Center is our compost program, and I just see piles and piles and piles of compost, Curtis. Tell us a little bit more about our program here and what people can, how people can access this.
Well, the program, it's our composting operation. We take in anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 yards of leaves a year. I don't remember the exact numbers off the last report. And probably about half to three quarters of that in grass as well, which we compost down, which makes this compost that we either give to the public, it's free. We wind up using it, a lot of it in town loam and mixing it with that for town jobs. And also what we have for leftover, which usually goes to Jolly Gardner up in Poland.
Nice.
But it is a pretty big operation, a lot bigger than most.
Yeah, I imagine. And again, this is just another great example of just leveraging every bit of material that comes in here, whether it's trash, recycling, bulky waste, grass clippings. I mean, it's really sort of leveraging it to its highest and best use and making sure that we get it out of the waste stream. So it's another great example of what you guys are doing, sort of innovation here at the Transfer and Recycling Center to maybe look at waste a little bit different.
Yes. We try to look at it from the perspective of, can we get rid of it? Can we recycle it? Can we keep it out of the landfill? Can we keep it from going to the energy plant where it does get burned and broke down, but then you wind up with some going to the landfill? If we can get rid of it in a different way, then it never finds its way to the landfill.
Amazing. So another aspect of the transfer station is our brush collection, and we do our annual brush collection here in the town, but people can drop off their brush anytime throughout the year, can they?
Yes, and of course up on the hill behind these weeds and stuff, you have a compost bin up there for the public to use that they can load into their vehicles, pick up in buckets. To the right of that is a chip bin where we get chips from tree workers that bring them in and we pile them there and people can take the chips. And next to that is the infamous brush pile, which everybody knows. We chip it about once a year now. And they haul the chips off, of course, which they chip our demo wood and pressure treat it as well. So we have one company that does that, but you can bring all your brush here. We do not take stumps at this time, but something to look at in the future.
Everything else. Well, that's great. So one of the newer additions to the transfer station is the food collection, food waste collection.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that program because it's a little bit creative.
Yes, it is. The food waste collection goes to AgRecycle. They pick it up presently at this time. And as you can see, the bins right there, that's what you put your food waste into. Most food waste, your oils can go in there, your cooking oils. And as long as you leave it in the container, just drop it in there, the container and all can go. The only thing that can't go in there is glass. That's the only issue we have is glass because it hinders part of the process and the reuse process of the end product. Yeah. So with the glass in there, it makes it not usable for them.
So tell us a little bit more about what that reuse is, because that's kind of the interesting angle here.
The way I understand it, so they take the stuff and it goes to a digester, gets digested, gets squeezed out, basically, in a nutshell. So the end product is they have a fertilizer type of product that they can get rid of, and they generate energy with the digester, and they also take the solids in the end after it's all composted, and they reuse it in their bedding for the animals. That's why you can't have glass in it.
So it is a really cool full circle deal where the food waste comes in, gets digested, gets used for energy, gets used for other byproducts, goes back to farms in Maine, and goes towards sort of the next cycle of food production for folks. It's a really cool idea.
Yes.
And so there might be some improvements happening here in the near future?
Yes, we actually purchased a can, which will change our process a little bit, which off to the right here, we'll show that is a food waste can, and we're going to try doing it that way. And then our hauler, Reynolds, will haul that to Maine and dump it there, where AgriCycle picks up daily and brings it to Exeter.
That's super cool. So be on the lookout for those updates in the near future.
Yes.
We're wrapping up the tour of the transfer station recycling center with the piece de resistance, the swap shop. And again, this is sort of at the ire of a lot of Facebook comments, but it's a really great resource that we have, and we try to keep it open as often as possible, right, Curtis?
It is. It is. Typically, you can find the swap shop open Friday mornings. We have a volunteer that comes in till about noontime, and then Saturday and Sunday. We try to keep it open as much as we can Saturday and Sunday, but like most things, we have to clean up as well before we go home, so we shut down usually an hour early, which would be 3:30, 3 o'clock in that area. So if you want to get in here and get something dropped off at the swap shop, you need to do it Saturday or Sunday. In the morning's best.
Yeah, and if you don't know, swap shop is an opportunity for folks to drop off gently used or very well loved items that still have some useful life to them that somebody else may want to enjoy. So you drop it off here, you might pick up a book that you might have been on your list, or there's something else that you could use. And then for folks that are trying to get rid of those items, then they'll have an opportunity to, again, to have them available for somebody else who may be able to use them. So that's great.
Yes, and if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to come in and ask, or you can read the sign out front. They've had this nice sign made and put on the building of do's and don'ts and what's acceptable and what's not.
It's amazing. So with that, we're going to wrap up this edition of the Friday Five. Curtis, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you.
And if you learned nothing from this week's edition, if you have questions at the transfer station, find somebody wearing the highlighter colored vests, because they will be able to tell you where to go. There's a lot of area here with a ton of different options for folks, for businesses and for residents alike. So they're here to help. And again, if you got questions, all you got to do is ask. So thanks again, and we'll see you next Friday on the Friday Five.